before we moved on to our very own narrowboat.
Today is the day we officially welcome you to our very own happy ending.
Our new tiny home on the canals, we had what seemed like a very clever idea.
So just to give you a recap, what happened is we're on a narrowboat for 2 months.
We're Wendy and Lawrence, and after moving everything we owned and our lives from Austin, Texas to retire to the UK, well, we decided to rent a narrowboat for 2 months, just to get us in the swing of things. Before moving onto our very own narrowboat. Well, Mother Nature and the canals had their own ideas about our brilliant plan.
So right now, Wendy and I are the same height because I'm kneeling down so we can get this in the shot.
So before we start exploring the English canals on our shiny new narrowboat, happy ending, enjoying what should be a beautiful British summer, why don't you join us for the next few videos as we earn our canal credentials living through a rather wet
And we're off, trying to beat the rain.
Beat the rain, beat the rain, beat the rain.
and cold British winter. Flooding canals and muddy towpaths and all. Because things rarely go as planned, just weeks before we were due to pick up our rental, the hire company called and let us know a major flight of locks, the Napton flight, would be closed by the time we arrived. Not a problem though. They would move our rental the other side of the locks and drive us up there to our narrowboat so we could start our adventure.
Hooray!
Problem solved. About a week before we were supposed to pick up our narrowboat rental, we were told our boat had engine issues, but they had another narrowboat available. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be returned in time for them to move it to the other side of the closed flight of locks. We decided to take the available boat so we could start our lives as continuous cruisers, or those who have no set address, just travel the nearly 2,000 miles of canals that crisscross the UK. And this is where we pick up our very first narrowboat winter.
So we were going to do an awesome introduction. Maybe a drone flying over the narrowboat, maybe us throwing our arms open in front of the camera, sitting on the stern. But here's the deal. It's England. And ever since we picked up the boat, it has been very cold, very wet, and we haven't been able to really spend much time outside of the narrowboat, aside from the time we're actually in the marina. But here we are. We are now officially back on the Oxford Canal, and we are technically into day 2 of our constant cruising life.
2 or 3? Does move-in day count?
I don't know. I mean, we weren't cruising technically, but we were on the boat. So
I say it counts.
So just to give you a recap, what happened is we're on a narrowboat for 2 months, and then hopefully we will pick up our own boat, which should be completed by April 1st.
November, you scared me,
I know, right? You'd be like, what the heck? So we've got this for 2 months, and we rented it off a company, which it sounds like it's what you're doing, but great name, Long-Term Narrowboat Hire. Awesome people. Emma, Katie, Daryl, John, Wes. Amazing team of people who helped us not only do the orientation on the boat, but Daryl helped us set up our Starlink. Now, they don't do that as a regular service, and Daryl's a bit of a tech nut, and he said he'll just help me, and he sort of took over, which was fine.
We enjoyed all of the help and assistance that we could
did. He showed me a couple of toys that I think I might want to get to. Wendy got a little nervous. But it's basically, if you can imagine a cell phone that is for survivalists in the middle of the Congo, that was it. So the complications that we have is the Oxford, which is a contour canal, and part of that involves hooking up with the River Cherwell. And it does it in a couple of places. Canal connects with Cherwell at the Anho Diamond Lock. And apart from, it's not necessarily getting back on the river, but there's a bridge evidently right past the lock, and if the river is high, there's no way for a narrowboat to get underneath it. So you can't go north. Then if you start going south, we really don't have that much really mileage to do. And then, because this is a 50, well this one's 60 foot metal tube, you have to have winding holes or places you can turn around. You can't just go to the end and go, oh well, we'll just go back. So you have to time everything or plan everything to where you can turn around if something happens. So we're watching the weather. We're supposed to get rain today again. It hasn't started, so we're going to see how crazy it is. But we're all about parking up and exploring the area around us. Again, if you watched our first time we did the Oxford Canal, we went to the Rousham Eye, which is 10 minutes from here. And we'll put the 3 words so you can see exactly where we moored today. So Rousham Hall we haven't done yet. And there's a couple of pubs people have recommended. Worst case scenario, we go up to Anho Wharf, and there's the Great Western Arms, which is awesome restaurant. And that actually has a winding hole. So if we get that far, then we'll be able to turn around and come back if we want to.
The very next day, the clouds break, bringing some sun and blue skies. Naturally, we make our way to Rousham House, past the gatehouse and down a long drive. And this is what we hope will be one of the biggest parts of our narrowboat life, exploring every nook and cranny of England and anywhere we might find ourselves.
And something that has been, 3 years in the making?
That long?
We finally made it to Rousham House. I keep wanting to call it a hall because it's pretty freaking grand, but I think technically it's just a house.
Well, in the U.S., we would have called this a castle.
Right.
And you UK people would make fun of us.
So I wonder if whoever lived here when it was first built, they didn't get invited to parties because they're like, well, he just lives in a house. He can't come to the party in a hall.
He's poor.
I know.
He's the poor of the nobility.
Because as we know from Jane Austen, it was all about social standards and where you were in the pecking order, right? We should technically be jumping in the boat and trying to get ourselves better position to get through the Diamond Lock at Anho Wharf. But screw it. We wanted to get this off the
We've been a little
list.
boat bound because of the rain and stuff. And we need our exercise too. So.
We do. And you know what? This is better than I thought it would be. And we haven't even gotten to the gardens.
And there is an entrance fee though. So
It's £10 a person.
I know, but I wasn't expecting it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. So let's go and check out the gardens.
Yay!
We are so glad we finally ticked this off our bucket list. And even though we didn't have time to have tea and cakes, we have to say goodbye and head back to our narrowboat. We have our first proper cruise to do. Question is, will we remember how to cast off?
And we're off! Yay! You know what? When you're ready, I am going to need my jacket. I realized I was a little optimistic.
I was like, okay.
Come here, baby. You did that so well. I am so impressed with you. Thank you.
All right. Let me Get your jacket, get lunch started.
So yeah, so we're gonna try to do what's called, I believe, don't quote me on this, Somerton Meadows. And we went past it way back when we came in 23. That was the one where he had all the cows pooping next to the boat. So we're gonna try to get there. We're gonna stay there overnight, and that'll give us a clear shot to Aynhoe Wharf, where we'll do all our facilities. And we'll ask them if they think we can get under the bridge at the Diamond Lock, which leads back onto the Cherwell. Because the water has definitely gone down over the last couple of days that we've been moored here at Lower Heyford Wharf. We think we might stand a chance squeezing under, and actually one of the gentlemen, I won't say his name so we don't get him in trouble, one of the gentlemen who we were talking to said that, you know, the Cherwell is starting to look a lot better. So right now, my love is cooking us lunch so we can have lunch on the go. And I don't want to be too cocky about this, but I think we've settled right into, and I'm looking down at my wife when I'm saying this, I think we've settled into continuous cruising life pretty well. So this is going to be the first lock that we've entered since April of last year, and none of those had bridges. Last time we did a lock with a bridge was in 2023. So we'll see how this goes.
If you look to the right, you can see a strong bywash flowing into the canal. These are used as a sort of water control. They can also make this part particularly difficult.
This wash keeps pushing me.
I figured it was the bywash. Don't forget you got a 60-footer. So.
All right.
I can't get it to move.
Yes. I think it's all the current and everything, babe. Ready?
Is that why? Yeah. Okay, I got it, babe.
All right.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yep.
Well done, baby. First lock.
Our first proper lock as continuous cruisers. Now, how well did we do?
So if I were to grade that, I would give Wendy an 11 out of 10.
I couldn't get the first lock gate open.
But that's not your fault. They're just tough. Now I would grade me as a 3 out of 10. And the only reason I'm not giving myself a 0 is because there was a wash there, and it's a slightly longer boat.
And it's a major wash.
It was a major wash. That was pretty Even when I came back and I was prepared to steer into it, it still pushed me over to the left-hand side of the lock.
Because the river is so freaking full. I mean, I was watching when your boat was coming up and it had to equal the level of the river, and it was past where it normally is.
Well, at one point, the Cherwell it looked like it was higher than the canal at one point when we were going past it, when you were making sandwiches. It was just crazy. Now, the good news is there's nobody around.
I ate your cheese. Oh, should I let the birds have this?
Yeah, that was a good sandwich.
Well, technically, I heard bread's bad for them, but okay, there you go, birds.
When things quiet down, it dawns on us. This is now our life. Continuous cruising. So new to us and so much to learn. We may be new to this lifestyle, but not the canals. Like every boater, we have our own unique history with this world.
So, this is the same lock. When we were here in 2023, I did an explanation of lock etiquette and how to manage the water. So this is what can eat up the time when you do the locks. It's not necessarily going through the lock, but it's who's in front of you and who's on the other side. Because good lock etiquette is you don't want to waste water. So if you have people either side, you basically only empty and fill it as you need to. So in this case, we had somebody going up right in front of us. Now if there's, and of course we wait for them to go up, but if there's someone on the other side waiting to come down, doesn't matter really if they got here after us, they're going to go next because we want to conserve the water because it's a big deal. So because the water's already at the level for them to move into the lock and then come down, in this case, then they'll do that. And then the lock will be what's called set. It'll be set for us because the water will be the right level once people from the other side come through and the water's down at our level. It's really common courtesy. I just recognized this beautiful hill over here. It looks like the green hill from Windows 95 launch screen. And yes, if you know what I'm talking about, you're that old. So yeah, so Wendy turned this thing around real quickly because it was a full lock when she went up there. So let's see if I can get in with this one without screwing up. That one sucked too.
I'm sorry, baby.
It is what it is.
2 more feet and a raging river.
Yeah.
At least I got this gate open by myself.
Oh, and you know what? You were so quick.
Well, the water was very quick, not me. Let me know when you're clear.
Clear.
Roger. It's filling so fast, I'm contemplating not opening that other gate.
One more quick look back at England's very own version of the Windows 95 screensaver, Canal and Lock Edition. And then it's time to push on. The sun is setting and it feels like we're the only people on the canal. And you know what? We're okay with that.
This is so awesome! There we are, we made it, yay!
It was only a 3-mile journey from leaving Lower Heyford to arriving at Somerton Meadows. It may have taken a little longer than it should have, but this is definitely worth the effort.
That's a very narrow strip of Armco.
Even in winter, this is so beautiful. Just to show we are well into our canal life, we chat with a couple we waved to as we passed them doing their gardening just a little earlier. And we meet and use our very first fuel boat. So very cool. You may want to stick around. You won't want to miss all our other firsts in this narrowboat life. Some are more fun than others.
Do we actually know how to do this?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't.
We would absolutely love to have you along, so why not subscribe? If you ring the bell, you'll be alerted as soon as a new adventure is published. If you really enjoyed this video, click the like button. It's free, and you'll make the YouTube fairies very happy. Until next time, my friend, travel well and be safe.